Oh no. Okay, and we are live. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Here with your latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and everything you guys need to know about the Manchester United takeover. So I can see people joining in. Who've we got in the chat so far today? We have Starport Tropics saying to catch City and the competitive, we need Qatar. Merger investment is the correct way. If we have Sir Jim and Radcliffe's another 10 years of mess. Thank you very much for your comment, man, and thank you for joining us on this fine, very warm, very sunny Sunday evening show. So, where do we currently stand with the Glazers, with the takeover? Well, we do have some updates, and these are coming from Financial Times and from the Daily Express. So, Financial Times have reported on Friday, of course, that the 70-year-old Jim Radcliffe is now considering letting all of the Glazers stay at the club. And that is going to be part of his takeover. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. And that's why we've included on the poll tonight what will happen with the takeover. Will Qatar buy us outright? Will the Glazers stay on? Or will Jim Radcliffe win? So I can see people joining in. Thank you very much for joining with us, guys. Thank you for joining us on this fine Sunday, wherever you guys are in the world. We are here with the latest Manchester United news on this takeover, as well as all the transfer news coming up as well. So, where do we currently stand with the takeover? So, we've reported all week on the show, on the channel, that one of the main things coming out was that Sheikh Jassim and Qatar do not know what's happening with their takeover. The bid hasn't been accepted, it hasn't been rejected, and those guys are still in the dark. Now, the Daily Express have said one way of doing that for Sheikh Jassim would be coughing up the 6 billion asking price that the Glazers have been holding out for all along. And I'm in agreement with the Daily Express here, and this is something that we have to be realistic with as fans. The only way that Qatar win this, the only way we get rid of the Glazers, have 100% ownership of the club, no longer with them, is if Qatar win. And the only way Qatar are going to win this bid, going to win this race, is if they go out and offer the full asking price of £6 billion. That is the only way that Qatar will win it. This is what we need to happen. I think watching yesterday's match, I think you guys would all be in agreement. We are a long way off Man City. Now, in that match yesterday, we put up a good resistance. We tried our best. We limited them to very little opportunities. We didn't make a lot by ourselves, but I do think we had a good match and we played it the right way. The only way we could have won that match yesterday was by sitting back, trying to catch City out on the break and offering up something on the counter attack. So we can see another comment in there. I totally agree. Says Tropics. I might just call you Tropics as well, man, because I'm really bad with names and reading things out. So of course you are agreeing with me. I'm assuming that's with in regards, of course, to Sheikh Jassim having to offer up the full asking price. There is no other way, in my opinion. Irfan's in there saying, hi, 7 new players have to come into Man United. Good to see you back on the channel as well, man. Good to see you as always. And I do agree, 7 players. I think, personally for me, 2 strikers are needed. Midfielder, at least 1, so there's 3. A goalkeeper, that's 4. Another defender, that's 5, maybe some free agents to bolster up the squad as well. I don't think we're going to have everything bought in one window. I think if we can get 5 or more players, that's a brilliant transfer window. So guys, thank you very much for joining with us tonight. So let me just have a quick recap, a quick look at where we currently stand with the takeover. This is what you guys are always looking up to know about. This is what we are all looking to know. So, the rumors came out initially from Jimmy Jackson. Now, this came out from The Guardian last week. Pretty reliable source. So we will get them into the chat because everything is relevant with the takeover. Because, simply put, guys, we do not know where we currently stand. So, Jimmy Jackson last week of The Guardian said Sheikh Jassim is still waiting to hear from the Glazers regarding his last bid for United. Now, this was as of last week. There's been a real lack of development overall with the story, but there are certainly pointers coming out. And I think even though there isn't a big piece of breaking news to catch everybody's attention, I think it's becoming more and more obvious, more and more clear what will be happening with the takeover. It is going to come down to one thing, and that is if Qatar offer the full asking price, they will win. That is the top and bottom of this situation, of course. Now, Kieran Maguire, a very respectable football finance expert, said last week that Jim Ratcliffe does not have the money on hand to buy United at the moment. So his money, of course, tied up in stocks, tied up in bonds, things like that, his investments, he has to sell. So there is an opportunity at this point in time for Sheikh Jassim to go in with a big bid, offer up the full asking price, and get the Glazers out. Get the club before Ratcliffe can even act on trying to move forward. Now, he has been boosted in this. We have said all along, this rumours, of course, that we would go for a priority bidder, somebody who the Glazers want to sell the club to, someone who will be the new owners. They will be named, and they would basically walk into a private room with the Glazer family. Nobody else can put forward a bid at that point. So that's what we have been working under the assumption of. Now, it turns out this will not be happening. This is, again, another delay. It's a real disgrace that this is the scenario and this is where we currently are. But this means that Sheikh Jassim has to act quickly. He has to be on the ball with his bid. He needs to get another bid in as fast as possible. Now, if you ask me, can he afford 6 billion? Absolutely. He's offered 5.5 billion up front. I don't think it's a purse to say Sheikh Jassim has another 500 million he can have pretty handily. I'm sure the guy has plenty of money in his bank accounts. He just needs to be on the ball, be proactive, and go for the jugular, go for it in these negotiations. That's what we have to do. That's what he has to do as a bidder. That's what we must have as a club. As this takeover has gone on, I, of course, have been largely swayed to thinking Qatar definitely will offer things that the Glazers can't, that Radcliffe can't. I do think that in terms of what we see on the pitch, they are the best candidates for the job, and I do think we are a long, long way away from being at Man City's level, and I think the only way we get there is with massive amount of investment. Will Radcliffe offer that? I don't know. Ask Nice fans, because Nice, those guys are owned by Radcliffe, and they currently are in an absolute state as well. Nice, their players are writing to the fans, apologising for the owners. They're apologising for the directors. There's a real breakdown at the club. Their captain himself, Dante, says, of course, that they don't know what's going on at the top level. So it seems very similar to what we currently have at United, where we have Erik Ten Hag, the players not knowing what's happening. The bidders do not know what's happening. This is all a ploy. This is all the Glazers trying to get money out of the situation. But what it will come down to at the end of the day is money. Money will talk in this one. And if Qatar puts on an offer that blows Radcliffe out of the water, they will win. And that's what I think they have to do. So we are asking that question throughout the entire stream. And I'm asking this in the polls. As we always do talk about the takeover. This is something so important to the club, so important to where we are going at the moment. So it's in the comments, guys. And the question is, what will happen with the takeover? Now, there are three potential options. Number one, Qatar by United. That is an outright bid, 100%, and that means no more Glazers, means all Qatari ownership, and that means massive amounts of investment starting this summer. That is what that means. Jim Ratcliffe wins is the second option, and it leads into the bottom option as well of the Glazers staying. If Ratcliffe wins, Glazers will stay. That is a simple fact. That is where we are as a fan club. In my opinion, I'm not a football finance expert, I'm not a journalist, and nor do I claim to be, but the only way, in my opinion, that this gets sorted, that United get bought outright, is if we have Qatar come in. Otherwise, the Glazers will stay. We do not know what Radcliffe's intentions are. We do not know what he will be like as an owner. You look at Nice, it's not great for those guys. Those guys are very, very unhappy. Their fans, the players, the management, they've had a very messy season, and the French league is not one that is overly competitive. There isn't a lot of money in that league. We're seeing the likes of Lens finishing second in that league, 1 point behind PSG. With the money that Radcliffe has, that he has invested, the players he has bought, they should be a lot better off. They've went out, they've bought Kasper Schmeichel, 34-year-old goalkeeper, Ross Barkley they've bought, Aaron Ramsey they had bought. They need Nice are a club in a real mess. They should be finishing top 4 in France in Champions League. There's no doubt about it. Another comment in there coming from Stacey. The club is being run by a bunch of rats. We will say a bunch of rats. Yes, I do agree. I mean, I'm sure you guys were very annoyed seeing all the Glazers there, and I do think something is going down. Now, this isn't coming from any sort of verified news. This is personal opinion. When we see Avram Glazer at a big match. That's to be expected. He turns up, he puts it all on a credit card for United. He racked up £500,000 off a bill for United at the Women's FA Cup. So that is to be expected. When you see the other Glazers turning up, when you see the likes of Brian Glazer, Kevin Glazer, their families who have never been to a United match turning up, something might be going down. People are joining in, so it's good to see you guys with us as always. Thanks very much for joining on this Sunday evening, wherever you guys are. Irfan is saying, young players like Garnacho in more game time for United and Sancho out. I do think Sancho is coming to a point with his United career where we have to ask that question. Is he ever going to get there? And I think, once again, he had a very anonymous match. Some might go as far as to say Jadon Sancho ghosted against Man City. Jinwa is saying if we get Sir Jim Ratcliffe, most likely not going to get a striker in the summer. If this was the case, we should use Greenwood and give it a try. I think anything is possible. I think if Ratcliffe comes in, you're looking at a smaller budget, 150 million tops, and that might include sales. I mean, put it this way, Irfan says Luke Shaw out and Inistapan in. Personally, I wouldn't get rid of Luke Shaw. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But everybody has their own preferences. That's the best thing about doing this channel, is knowing what you guys think, seeing what you guys' opinions are, and growing the community. So thanks for the comment there as always, man. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I think when we look at what has happened in recent weeks, whenever Avram Glazer was in town for the Women's FA Cup final, of course, what happened after that match? A fourth bid went in from Qatar. Could he have been in Manchester United's offices in London? Absolutely. I think he will have been. And I think there certainly is things going on behind the scenes. Now, by all accounts, according to everybody who has any sort of credibility in the media, anyone who has any sort of links, rumours, or connections at the club, something will be happening after the season ends. So the season has ended. Let's see what happens this week. I'm expecting a big week. We know in terms of transfers, Erik Ten Hag has put not one but two demands out this week. He wants Mason Mount signed this week. He wants Rasmus Hojlund signed this week. That is what he's asking for. Jinwa says, what is your opinion on Ten Hag talking about Rashford being a number 9? Personally, I'm not 100% sure on that one. I mean, Rashford, I think he's a very good goal scorer. I don't think he's got the overall qualities to be a number 9. I think he's improved a lot this season. Certainly, he's a stronger player now. He holds the ball up well. He can finish. I think it will all depend. Personally, if you ask me, I want to go out and buy a top level striker. But there's people joining in, so guys, welcome to the stream, welcome to the channel. If you guys want to get your thoughts in on the poll in the comments, what will happen with the takeover? That's what I'm asking you guys. Now, before we've asked, will Qatar win? Will Ratcliffe win? But this is getting to a point now where a decision has to be made. It will be a key week in terms of the overall takeover process. And we do have an update, of course, from the Daily Express. So, Daily Express have said things are expected to move fast if and when an offer is finally given the green light. So, whenever we do have the Glazers finally accepting someone's offer, it will move fast. Let's hope, for our sake, that it's Qatar. I don't think we can go out and compete with City, compete with Newcastle, the money those guys are having, without the Qatari level investment. I think that will be absolutely crucial moving forward for this football club. But any more thoughts, guys, get them into the comments. And as well as that, we will be bringing you guys all of the latest transfer news, because there are plenty of rumours going about, and this is something I want to do all summer long on the channel. I will try my very best to do a daily live stream. We will go through the news. We will look at what is true, what is made up, and what might happen in terms of our transfer window. Do expect a big one. Erik Ten Hag has said for weeks upon weeks he needs better players. We know what positions we need. We know we need a striker. We need another midfielder, at least one. Potentially another defender. If Maguire goes, Eric Bailly goes as expected. We need to bring some more people in. Let's see. Tropics is saying, I'm new to the show and channel. Love how you do it. Please keep it up. Great efforts. Thanks very much, man. I do appreciate all the support. And just a quick shout out for you guys as well, whilst we're on the subject. The support on this channel has been absolutely incredible, and genuinely absolutely loving this journey with you guys. And we will keep on doing it. Plenty coming up, and a massive summer coming up as well. So whilst we wait for further updates on the takeover, do expect some news dropping around 9 o'clock, as always, whenever the watershed hits and the press injunctions are lifted. Irfan says all 7 players: Harry Maguire, Sancho, Rashford, Bruno. Uh, is that David? I'm assuming it's David De Gea, Eriksen, Shaw lost to Liverpool 7. 0 go for world class players like Osimhen and Kudus and Victor Osimhen as well. Yeah, I mean, I think we do need to clear out. I think some of those players shouldn't be starting for us in future. I think Rashford I would keep, Bruno I would keep. Sancho's debatable. Eriksen, I don't think he should be starting next season. Who else have we got on the list? David De Gea, big question marks, and we will get onto that in just 1 minute's time. But just before we do, let's talk about the big transfer at the moment, and that, of course, is Harry Kane. Yes, so Harry Kane, of course, a player who we have been heavily linked to for many, many years now. This is something that has been a long, long time in the making. Now, United, we need a striker. There is no doubt about that. Is Harry Kane that guy? I think he could be. Harry Kane comes in, he scores 30 goals next season. Easy. That is no doubt in my mind that he will score those goals. But what we have to ask for, what we have to question, is how long can Harry Kane do it? How long will Harry Kane be at this level? I don't think Harry Kane has 5 years left in him. I think Harry Kane has at most 3 world-class seasons left. And from that, we need to buy another striker. I think 2 strikers would be an ideal summer. I think I would love Rasmus Hojlund and love Harry Kane, but you're talking 150 million. Harry Kane going to be 100 million. Hojlund's going to be 50. Do we have that money? Not without Qatar. And everything comes down to the takeover, in my opinion. If it goes right, if Qatar do come in, we are talking about a club now who earn more money than anybody else commercially, with Qatari revenue coming in as well. With no more debt, we can easily spend 250 million plus every single season. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And that's what we're going to need. We need that level of investment sustained. We need at least 3 to 4 top level players brought in for this window and next window if we want to compete. I think when people are saying about potential challenges next season for titles, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we have to go and be smart, and I don't think we can be expected to be at City's level yet. I think we can push them. I think if we go out and bring in a striker, a goalkeeper, a midfielder and a defender, we are looking at a team now that will have a very, very good starting 11, and then it comes down to the bench. It comes down to those other options. Young players coming through, Garnacho and the likes will get better, but we still need more. Look at yesterday, Man City brought Phil Foden off the bench, Nathan Ake off the bench. If those guys can take Kevin De Bruyne off in a cup final, that's a level you have to get to compete with them. We had Garnacho, he is 18, very talented player, but he's only a kid. We had Wout Weghorst come on. That's the difference here. That is the difference in quality in the two teams at the moment, and we have to get to that level. So, on the latest on Harry Kane, let me just bring up the latest quotes. Now, we have been saying all week, there has been talk, of course, that one of the big things is that Daniel Levy does not want to sell Harry Kane to Manchester United. Now, there has been talk coming out, of course, Daily Mail, and that is regarding Karim Benzema. Now, Karim Benzema will be leaving Real Madrid. That was confirmed today, and Real Madrid want to replace Benzema with Harry Kane. Daniel Levy has said all summer he would happily sell Harry Kane abroad. All of a sudden, you have a team now who need a striker, who need a top-level striker ready to go immediately, and Harry Kane's on the market. So that is definitely potential there. There's comments coming in. Let me just have a quick check of these as well. Jinwei says, what's the thing with Eriksen? Because when he was out, we all missed him, but when he comes back, he's just no use. I think Christian Eriksen is a very good player. I like having him in the team. He offers something very different. He gives us control on the ball. He is able to pick out passes. One thing Christian Eriksen does not have is he does not have legs. He cannot put in the running work. He isn't fast. He's not overly strong. That's why I think we need to go out and get another replacement. If we have Eriksen rotating, I think that makes us a better team. And I mean, look at Man City. If those guys are taking De Bruyne off in a cup final to put Foden on, that's what we can get to. And United, we played 62 matches this season. No doubt in my mind, we are going to play a lot of matches next year. So I think Eriksen will have his use. I think maybe just not in the pivot. Jinwa says, on the window, when is it open? Honestly, I'm not sure. I think traditionally it's usually the 1st of July. You can talk to clubs, you can have your deals pretty much done by then, and everything just gets signed off. So I will say for that. Irfan says Harry Kane is too old for United. We have to go for a younger player like Victor Osimhen, Kudus, or Lautaro Martinez. And Jinwa says, but being number 9 is different. 9 has to be experienced. You don't get those as a youngster. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, all still in the transfer market. They're going younger. Harry Kane go to Real Madrid, and that's just again on the experience. Yes, I think playing number 9 is one of those positions, the striking position, and the midfield and the centre back positions. Those are places you need experience. When you're a winger, it's okay. Garnacho's come through fantastically well. Whenever you're a fullback, it can happen, but it's very hard to come into a team trying to compete for big honours as a midfielder, as a striker, because you have to be brilliant. You have to be top level. That's why when Rashford came through, it was so exciting. That's when Greenwood came through, it was so exciting. But even at that, those guys, even though they had played their entire careers as strikers, they moved on to the wings because you get that match time, you get the fitness, the experience, and then you can try to develop yourself. We've seen it many times across football history. Rashford could be a potential one now who moves into that central striking position. The obvious one, of course, Thierry Henry, one of the best goal scorers in Premier League history. The guy started out as a winger. So what you have to do is get those match times, get the experience, build yourself up, and if you're going to play striker, move in there in your mid-20s when you're physically grown, you're strong enough to play there, you're wise enough, you know what you have to do. And I think Rashford might be at that stage now. It all depends on what happens long term. I think if we're going in next season with Rashford as our only striker, that's not good enough. If we go in next season, Rashford is going to play through the middle sometimes. Harry Kane, Hojlund, we've Garnacho, we've got Sancho on the left, we've got Anthony, Amad Diallo on the right. That's a really good bit of squad depth. And then you're looking at number 10 position. You're looking at Bruno and Eriksen for in there. You're maybe looking Fred, Mason Mount to play alongside Casemiro as well. So there is potential there. Do expect a little bit of a change in the overall structure of United. I don't think we'll be playing a 4-2-3-1 next season, but we do have some talk coming through on Mason Mount. So I'm going to bring this to you guys. Mason Mount, of course, a player very, very heavily linked to United, and we have just touched on him. So I will just quickly load this up. Let me just check which one. Is it 3? I think it's 3. Let's double check this here for you guys. Yes, so Mason Mount. So we do have an update now from Jacob Steinberg. Jacob Steinberg, a reliable reporter, of course, and he has been talking about Mason Mount's potential transfer. And he has been saying, of course, that at the moment, Manchester United have opened talks with Chelsea over a deal for Mason Mount. The clubs are expected to be around £20 million apart. So that is definitely getting closer. There will be an agreement made. United will probably go up to what, like 48 million. Chelsea will come down to 50, and they'll probably end up around there. Now, we have comments coming in from Irfan saying Zidane has to come in and get a go next year. Yes, I like Zidane Iqbal. Had a very, very good preseason, and he deserves a chance. Very talented young player, and I think if he does not manage to make it at United next season, get him a good loan move. Look at how good Amad Diallo's loan move to Sunderland has been for his career. Amad was going nowhere in United's first team. He went to loan on Sunderland, made a big difference to them. They almost got promoted, and a good loan spell can change a player's career. We've seen it with David Beckham. I mean, he wasn't going anywhere at United. He went to Preston. He got his match time in. He improved as a player. He got stronger physically. He came back, and he was fantastic for United. Irfan says, get Nicolo Barella. I love Nicolo Barella. I think I would definitely have him ahead of Mason Mount. I think brilliant player, and he would be absolutely perfect for what we need. I think what we need, realistically, is someone to come in that sort of box-to-box midfield role where Eriksen has been playing, but I don't think Eriksen has the legs for it anymore. I think a Nicolo Barella is a great option. Frankie de Jong would be perfect, but we know he will not be coming to Manchester United. Definitely will not be happening again this season. in terms of Mason Mount, however, I'm sure you guys have seen it. There was an interview done today. He was at the Formula One racing, and he was asked, would he be joining Manchester United? Very interestingly, he didn't say no. He simply laughed and he said, I'm just here to watch the races. So there's definitely something going on with Mount. All the talk coming out is that he will be joining Manchester United at some point. So let's see what happens. Jinwa says, if Greenwood was still here, there wouldn't be this issue for a striker. At least we can go and have another year to get that number 9. I think we need the striker now. If it's a young player coming in, that would be very good in my opinion. I think, like, if it wasn't for what's happened with Mason Greenwood, if he was still playing for United, I think it could be an interesting shout. I mean, we want a young striker. There's a young striker there. We also want a goal scorer for now. You could get Harry Kane, and that could be a very good balance. Do I think he'll come back? Probably not. I don't think at this point it is going to happen. But I stand to be corrected. We will see what happens in that long term. There's people joining in, so good to see you guys with us on the channel here. We are asking in the comments, what will happen with the Man United takeover? Will Qatar buy United? Will Jim Ratcliffe win the race, or will the Glazer family stay? At the moment, there are 62 votes on that poll. 92% of you guys are going for Qatar buying United, so I like to see the confidence. Lipstick Movie Scenes is saying United now being linked with a left winger. I was surprised by that. And Daniel says, hello, GOAT. Good to see you, man. Good to see Daniel on the show once again. Real good supporter of the channel, as are the rest of you guys as well. Unbelievable support across the channel. Really do appreciate all the support, all the interaction. Really makes the channel that bit better. I couldn't do it without you guys, and the community is growing and growing every single day on the channel. So in terms of where we currently stand, we have an update on Mason Mount that I want to bring you guys, and this is coming from James Ducker. Now, Ducker is a very, very good journalist, and this is also where the left winger story has come from that Lipstick was talking about there as well. So in terms of what Jason Burt and Ducker have been saying in the Telegraph, Manchester United are expected to make an offer of £50 million to buy Mason Mount this month. Big deal, big offer going in. Do I think Mount comes in and is suddenly a world-class player? No, I don't. But I stand to be corrected on it. Not every player coming in is going to be in the best form. Not every player coming in is going to be the biggest name possible. I mean, look at what Jurgen Klopp has done with Liverpool. Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, for instance. None of those guys were seen as world-class players when they were first signed. They fit the system perfectly, and the system made them world-class. If Mason Mount comes in, does something similar, that could be great for me. In terms of what Lipstick is saying, that come from James Ducker as well. A very good report and a really good article as well. If anybody does want to read it, it is all over Twitter as always. But I think he could be a good option. In terms of the left winger, I think that comes from rumours that Rashford might be used as a striker next season. I still think we have good depth on the wing. I don't think a left wing has to be the priority signing this summer. Of course, we have Garnacho there, Sancho can play there, Rashford can play there, Ahmad is coming through, got Pellistri, got Sancho as well, Bruno can play on the wings. I don't think we need that type of player. Now, there was talk, of course, several weeks ago that we would be after Neymar on loan. Neymar would be a very fun left winger to bring in, but I don't think it's going to happen. Irfan says, Sofian Amrabat. Yes, there are reports to Sofian Amrabat as well. Let me just get that into the chat because I don't actually have it set to be covered on the show, but I will bring it to you guys because it's worth talking about. So what we do is we cut through what we think might be real, what isn't real, and we bring you guys what we think will be United's plan for the year. So this is coming in from Italian sources. Man United are serious about Sofian Amrabat and have intensified contacts for him in the last few hours. Now, Amrabat's a very good player. Player we were linked to in the January transfer window. Erik Ten Hag, he went for Marcel Sabitzer in January. That's who we ended up signing, but Amrabat was an option. The player's priority is Barcelona, but he is aware of their economic situation and will not wait forever. So, Amrabat, a good player, would come in, could be a very good squad player for us. Jinwa is saying, the thing is, every top club are fighting for a number 9 this summer. I do think that's true. I think Real Madrid going in for a striker now with Benzema leaving will make things interesting. I think Bayern Munich need a striker. We'll probably see Juventus go for a striker should Vlahovic leave. So certainly going to be a lot of interesting talk. And Daniel is saying there as well, go get an out-and-out striker in. Completely agree. Striking position will be key for United this summer. Let's see who else is commenting. Lipstick is saying, I hope Qatar make a ridiculous bid. And Irfan says Fiorentina Amrabat is a monster. I haven't seen too much of Amrabat. I don't watch a lot of Italian league, all things considered, and I wish I could. I will try to make a bit more time to try cover those leagues and stuff as well, because there's definitely some fantastic players in there. In terms of what Lipstick is saying, I hope Qatar make a ridiculous bid. I hope so. I think looking at what City are at the moment, do we think genuinely in our heart of hearts that Jim Radcliffe is going to get us there? I don't think so. We can see more people joining in. David is saying, anyway, we need 2 strikers, and if Martial says he will be a decent third choice, and hopefully he can make a transfer request to another club. I think he has to go. I think when you're looking at a player who's getting injured in the warm-ups and getting injured listening to speeches by the manager, I think definitely could not see him being here long-term. I don't think he will be a long-term signing for United. But speaking on long-term signings, let's talk about another one potentially coming to United. Let me just see. So that is Rasmus Hojlund. Rasmus Hojlund, yes. So Hojlund, very good young player from Atalanta this season. One of the few players I have looked at in depth in from Serie A, and there is a lot of talk about him signing. Now, Fabrizio Romano has been speaking on this. Whenever Romano speaks, we listen, of course, as we know the guy is... It's him and David Ornstein. Those guys are the most reliable transfer journalists, and the only guys I really listen to every word they say. Now, Fabrizio Romano has says Atalanta will not accept less than £60 million for Rasmus Hojlund, and United are in the front row to sign him. Very exciting young player, very, very talented, quick. His movement is brilliant. His overall physicality is very, very good. And I think Hojlund would be a brilliant signing for us. Let's see. Lipstick says, not a chance. Radcliffe will get us to the top. Do you agree with that? David is saying, if Qatar don't get United, Ten Hag should resign so his CV won't be destroyed by the Glazers. And Irfan says, very good. Number 9 on the market first. On the market, yes, we have to go get the best striker we can. So important that we do that. Carl is in there. What if Glazers refuse 6 billion? I think it's possible. I think, honestly, it's a very good point, man. Realistically, we have to look at this from the Glazers' position. Those guys, for the last 20 years, all they've cared about is money. Now, Jim Radcliffe comes in, he offers you 3 billion and says you guys get to keep 20-30 million pounds a season for the next 20 years. Or Sheikh Tassim comes in and says, I'm going to give you 6 billion right now. You guys probably will not. I know it's not a nice thought, but I mean, like, realistically, you will not be living long enough to make over 6 billion in terms of 20 million pound dividends every year. You will not. That's like, unless you're going to live to 200-300 years, that's never going to happen. Let's see. Daniel says, did you see people on Twitter saying Romano was on Chelsea's payroll? Yeah, I think that was something to do with the Mudryk signing. I mean, there's always stupid stuff online. Romano, he is his own guy and he does speak the truth. Now, is he a little bit of a top-in merchant? Potentially, but the guy is never wrong. Never, ever wrong. On his transfer. So I will trust Romano on that one. When he says that United are after Rasmus Hojlund, I think we definitely are. So let me just say here, an interesting quote coming out for you guys, and this is on Kim Min Jae. So this is coming from Italian journalist speaking, who Radio Kiss Kiss. I've never heard of them. But the thing is, they are a sister partner channel to Napoli's own radio show. So that would give this a little bit of credence. That could be like MUTV coming out and saying United were buying someone. That's probably going to happen. And he has said, in terms of that, Kim Min-jae, he will go to Manchester United for the rest of his life. Do I think Kim Min-jae is going to be at United next season? I think he certainly could. Do I think he'll be here forever? Probably not. but I will bring that to you guys because it is just breaking at the moment. Another comment coming in there as well from Bataban, I think. GGMU just asking, when will the club be officially sold? Because we are impatient about it. Transfer window is around the corner and the club are acquiring new faces. Yes, very impatient. We want to see it move on. We want those players brought in and the players and the club to be sold. CPC is saying Glazers are going to delay this and they're going to spoil Ten Hag's transfer plans. Absolutely. Completely agree with that. Rasmus Hojlund is known as the best striker to United right now, says, who's that? Suhal. I'm very bad with names, guys. I do apologize for that. Lipstick Movie says, here we go, or is what we want. Marky is saying, Kim Min-jae, come on, Ten Hag. And we have another comment in there as well saying we need Rasmus Hojlund at Man United. I do agree with all you guys. Kim Min-jae, fantastic centre-back. I always knew he was good. He has been voted and named the best defender in Serie A this season. And whenever I was covering him for the video we did, the stats, unbelievable. They made me go out and watch several hours of Kim Min-jae playing for Napoli this season. And what a player he really is. And a lot of people think maybe he comes in as an understudy to Varane. I think if Varane keeps getting injured and doesn't have a great season next year, Kim Min-jae, if he came in, he might be first choice after a while as well. But that's just a bold prediction for myself. So there's loads of people joining in on Sunday night. I do appreciate you guys wherever you guys are. If you guys want to get your thoughts into the comments as well. And on the poll, who will win the Man United takeover? Will Qatar buy United? That's what 89% of you guys are saying. Jim Radcliffe wins, has 6% of the votes, and Glazers to stay has 6% as well. Let me see who's commenting on there. David is saying £60 million or euros. Who's that? I think that was on Rasmus Hojlund. I think that was 60 million euros, so about 50 million pounds. Very good offer for a player who realistically next season is going to go for 70 to 80 million pounds. Please, I am begging United, go out for once and just buy a player ahead of time. Don't wait for him to get even better before paying 100 million. New comment in there as well from Games saying, let's go for Gonzalo Ramos and Hojlund with another creative midfielder and a goalkeeper. That could be a very nice summer. I think two strikers, very young strikers who will only get better. Another creative midfielder, maybe looking at a Barella, maybe looking at Mason Mount, most realistically. In terms of a goalkeeper, that is something I do want to cover for you guys. CPC is saying we need two strikers, two midfielders, a defender and a goalkeeper. Don't know where the money is going to come from. I do agree. I think that has to be the most realistic what we're going for this summer. Strikers, midfielders, defenders and a goalkeeper. That is at a must. I think hitting the free agent market will help us. I think genuinely, even though he probably is going to Saudi Arabia, if we went and got Hojlund and Benzema for one season, that could be very good for us. And we could get Harry Kane next year on a free potentially, if he stays at Tottenham. But all that remains to be seen. Benzema at United, something that should have happened under Ferguson, didn't happen then. Maybe it'll happen under Ten Hag in 2023. Stranger things have happened at this club. Let's see, Marky is saying Diogo Costa in, De Gea out, ASAP, and two top strikers. I do agree with that. So with that in mind, guys, I'm going to move on here to the next point that we wanted to talk about on the show. Let me just see. I think it was... Let me just double check my overlays are up and running. Just like to keep this as a video reference for you guys. So yes, here we are. Man United goalkeeping signing now. Conflicting reports were coming out earlier today. First and foremost, we have James Ducker of The Telegraph, very reliable journalist, has said that United will not be going for a goalkeeper this year because we don't have the money to pay, basically to put in a big offer. Daily Mirror came out with completely different reports, and they said that United do want to buy a goalkeeper, and Diogo Costa is the number one. Now, Diogo Costa has just spoke on this, and he says, I love Porto. It's the club of my life. I would give my life for it. My life is happy with Porto. Man United, this is just the internet. Now, we know there's more to this. We know something will happen in terms of a goalkeeper this summer. Has to be. And something I think could give us a potential edge is Diogo Costa's very best friend in the entire world, a guy he has grown up with at Porto, in Portugal as well, is Diogo Dalot. Maybe Dalot can be an agent for United and put a call in with his good friends. Will be interesting to see. Ms. Haban says, in my bold opinion, I prefer Qatari's bid. Let's hope for a good future for our team. Mason Mount, Hojlund, Diogo Costa, and some defenders. Get the deal done and make it happen. I do agree with you. Roblox is saying we need to get rid of Anthony Martial. I do agree. Martial's time is over at Manchester United, in my opinion. Will not be there for much longer. And fully expected. I mean, it is a shame. I loved Anthony Martial throughout his career at United, especially as an early player. One of in that last season under Louis van Gaal, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, things did get rough for him, but I thought the lockdown season when he scored 25 goals under Ollie, he had turned a leaf. His fitness was better, but he is back to his old ways. He is back to being injured all the time, and I think we need to move on from him. Unfortunately, I do like the guy, and I still think there's a player in there, but he is not going to be here much longer. So any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments. As always, completely interactive show. Get the comments in and keep voting on the poll. At the minute, we have 137 votes. 89% of you guys are saying Qatar will buy Man United. I love the confidence. I think it's the only way, realistically, we can catch up with Man City within the next 5 years. Certainly. Jim Radcliffe wins has 5% and the Glazers stay is 6%. I think those are two things very much linked to each other. We've seen, of course, that Jim Radcliffe will let all of the Glazers stay on now. That guy cannot be trusted with this club. Cannot be trusted, in my opinion. CPC says the longer the Glazers stay, Martial also stays. His transfer request was blocked by the Glazers in the past. It's a very good point. That is something that happened. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to sell Anthony Martial. Jose Mourinho wanted to sell Anthony Martial. Neither of them got him sold. Closest we got, of course, was when he went to Sevilla. I think he played or scored one match for them. So definitely not a player going to happen long term. There is talks about a potential new bid coming in from Qatar, so I will cover this with you guys. This is coming from Miguel Delaney. Probably not the most reliable of sources. I don't think this is something that you guys can take to the bank, but it's worth talking about. It is worth noting for you guys. So we will get this into the chat. So, Miguel Delaney, speaking on Qatari takeover at Man United, has said that Sheikh Jassim could make a higher bid again. I mean, I could say that. I mean, I could say Sheikh Jassim might make another bid. It's very ambiguous. It's very vague. But I think it's worth noting. I think it's worth talking about because what it means is he hasn't given up. And I don't think he will give up on this club. Who's coming in the comments? Andrews is saying, what will happen to Donny? I think the players need to step up mentally. We need to rise to the challenge for major trophies if we want Qatar too. Yes, mentality is a big thing at this club. And for a long time, I have questioned the mentality of a lot of these players. We've seen this season, even though it has been good, we have won trophies, finished top 4. There's been times where the mentality hasn't been good enough. Erik Ten Hag is saying himself that the players' work rate and attitude has to be questioned. So I think that has to be commented on as well. So Lipstick says Rasmus Hojlund is the most exciting striker I've seen for a while. I think Rasmus Hojlund is brilliant, and if given the choice between Hojlund and say Koulibaly, I think it's a toss-up. I think both are very good, but I'm going to go for Rasmus Hojlund in that scenario. New comment in there as well coming from Hellas saying, please let us know about the Glazers families out. Qataris talking about United signings. We have been talking about that, man. If you have missed the early part of the show, that was the first thing I put on. Let me just scroll to the top of the chat, and I will bring you guys what we were talking about earlier, because I know it always takes a while for YouTube to send out that we are live on the channel. Let me just quickly close the poll down. Let's see. So, Financial Times have been reporting, and they said the 70-year-old, so this is talking about Radcliffe, is considering letting all of the Glazer siblings stay on at the club. And that is not good news. We want these guys out. We don't want them to stay. And Radcliffe is saying to the Glazers, come on, guys, stick with me. Let me run the club, put my money in. I'll give you guys whatever money you want out of it, and I might buy you out in 10 years' time. Get that man out of the club. Get that man out of the race. Get Qatar in if that's going to be the scenario. Honestly, I am very fed up with this. Radcliffe talk about keeping the Glazers on. If Radcliffe was coming out genuinely and saying he wanted to buy all the club and he would get rid of the Glazers, I think people would be more receptive to him but he isn't. He's clearly shown he is not a fan of United. He wants the Glazers to stay on with him. So, of course, Daily Express also said one way for Sheikh Jassim to win is to cough up the entire $6 billion asking price the Glazers have been holding out for. And Sheikh Jassim is still waiting to hear back on his most recent talk. And his most recent bid for the club. So that's where we stand at the moment. Let me see who's in the chat as well. David is saying, we have to panic. The transfer window isn't open yet. Doesn't mean United shouldn't be speaking to prospects. Yes, absolutely. We need to be moving. We need to get on the ball. Marky is saying, seeing the Glazers sit next to Sir Alex Ferguson made me sick to my stomach. Yeah, absolutely horrible. And Hellas is then from Tanzania, Africa, watching Man United. We need Sheikh Jassim. Yeah, I think Qatar is what is going to get this club back to where they need to be at the quickest. The quickest it can go. Obviously, a lot of things need to happen for that to take place. We need the right signings. We have the right manager. Let's go out and give ourselves a chance of competing. And as well, thank you very much for watching from Tanzania. Amazing to see. Even though we are a small channel, you guys support worldwide. Genuinely, it does blow me away. For anyone who doesn't know, I am Irish, so sitting here in Ireland in the middle of summer, talking to you guys about the takeover. What a life it is. Honestly, guys, really appreciate every single one of you guys, and the support on the channel has been incredible. And if anybody does want to help us out and want to join in with the community, you know what to do. Hit that sub button and join in today. CPC says the Glazers are taking United fans for granted. Yes, that's nothing new. Those guys have always took the club for granted. They do not care about the club, the fans. They just want money. Ian is in here saying, I think Sir Jim will win this. He's a Glazers 2.0 and wants the club for bragging rights. If we don't get Qatari, we can forget ever competing with Man City. I mean, yeah, it's a real possibility. I think we need, realistically, if Radcliffe comes in, it will come down to one of two things. It will come down to, can Erik Ten Hag get the most out of what he has given? We've seen Klopp do something similar at Liverpool. They managed to get signing after signing right. Now, whenever you bring players in, there's always a risk of them flopping, of them not doing well. Klopp went on a run, got in Salah, got in Sadio Mane, Firmino, Alisson, Thiago, Van Dijk, Robertson, all within one or two windows. Erik Ten Hag would have to do something like that, and that is so difficult to do. If we have Qatari money, we can go and get these players who we know will not fail. If we get Harry Kane, for instance, that's a guy who guaranteed will score 30 goals next season, no doubts about it. If we go and we buy Kim Min-jae, that's going to be a great defender. If Radcliffe comes in and we end up buying I don't know, like a Mitrovic, we're not winning anything. And that's the truth of the situation. Realistically, and we said this for many weeks, what Radcliffe can do in 10 years to this club could put us back to competing for titles. What Qatar could do within 2 to 3 years would have us competing with Man City. That's my opinion. That's what you guys are thinking as well. So yeah, that's the thoughts on that one. There's loads of votes on the poll. You guys are really enjoying the poll tonight. And if anybody hasn't voted, we are asking, what will happen with the takeover? Will Qatar buy Man United? Will Radcliffe win the bid? Or will the Glazers stay? That is the question we are asking for you guys. Andrew says, why is there no Glazers out chant at Wembley? I think there was. Probably not as big because it was an away fan section going, not as many fans as with a home match. It's the reason why the 1958, they always go for the home matches, because there will be people standing about waiting to go in, and they will join in with the protests when it's there, but it's very difficult to organise stuff like that. Marky says, yesterday made it so obvious that Ten Hag needs backing this summer. He took us to cup finals, but he needs top signings to compete with City. Yes, completely agree. I completely agree with that statement. I think whenever Man City are bringing Foden off the bench and we are bringing Garnacho off the bench, that's the difference. As good as Garnacho is, he's not at Phil Foden's level yet. And our backup striker is Wout Weghorst, 2 goals all season. Let's see, who's out in the comments. Lipstick is saying, is Radcliffe buying it just for vanity? I don't know. I mean, the guy sat last year, I remember last summer, saying he would love to buy United if they went up for sale, because he sits in the pub with his mates and he's getting laughed at because United aren't playing well. This is the same guy who said he was a Chelsea fan. This is the same guy who apparently was sitting in the away end in Barcelona when United won the treble. And this is the same guy selling his best Nice player to Liverpool. So I don't know. You guys can make your own mind up on that information, I'm sure. Sadiq is saying, we want the Glazers to leave United for good. We do not want the Rat to keep the Glazers in charge of United. Yes, I think keeping the Glazers on shows that Radcliffe is not a friend of United fans. That is the truth. That is the truth of the situation. He is not a friend of us. He never has been, if that's the case. And some people would consider it a real betrayal. I would agree with that. I think genuinely, Radcliffe is looking at letting this club down, letting the fans down. And last summer, we were all very excited. Everybody seemingly wanted Radcliffe because he said, I'll come in, I'll buy the Glazers, I'll put £1 billion into the club, we'll have the best players, there'll be no more Glazers, and Man United will be winning things. Um, let's see what's happening. Lacanio says, I think at this point, for the best candidate for the bid is Qatar. The fact that Sir Jim is looking to keep the Glazers and paying them overtime is a red flag to me. We need to compete from next season. Yes, completely agree with that. Need to be competing next season. I don't think we can win the league next season, but we certainly can compete. Big T says, any plans for a community WhatsApp group or a web page, something where we can communicate outside of streams? Do you know, man, I was actually thinking about this. Maybe looking at a Telegram or a Discord server, maybe it could be something interesting if you guys would be up for that. I probably would need mods and stuff on it. So, yeah, I'll try get that up and running. If anybody does want to be a mod on that, let me know, and I'll see what I can do midweek. We'll get a community post going and we'll take it from there. I'd love you guys as well to be talking. I know other channels do it. I know United People's TV have Telegram servers. All depends. But I will try to bring you guys something because community is growing. You guys are loving talking to each other. Let's see, new comment in there as well from Zakaria, I think. I'm very bad with names, so I apologize if I got that wrong, man. We need young players who have hungers to play in a team for some years of experience, like Ollie Watkins, and then you just spend money on a good PC CM. And Osbert says Telegram. Yes, thanks very much for that, man. I will take it into consideration. Maybe a Telegram or a Discord. Depends on what you guys are on. Big T saying Discord. So I will look into that this week. We'll see what we can do. I would love to get it going for you guys as well, because community is growing, and I'm sure you guys want to like talk amongst each other as well, because I'm seeing the interaction with you guys. It genuinely makes me very happy to see, because this is a community we've started from the ground up, from nothing this season, and we are definitely in a very good place. And if anybody would like to join in with the community, you guys know what to do. Hit that sub button, join in today for all your United news, transfer news, takeover news, player reports as well. Big summer coming up. We will be live pretty much every single day, going through the latest news, getting you guys what is true, what is lies, and bringing you guys what you need to know. In terms of the poll in the comments, we are saying what will happen with the takeover. 202 votes. Very good support on that, guys. Thank you for that one. And we are asking, will Qatar buy United? Will Radcliffe win, or will the Glazers stay? That is what we're asking you guys in the comments. At the moment, Qatar is buying United, according to you guys on the poll, with 88% of the vote. So that's a very, very big backing for Qatar. I know you guys want them. I know we don't want Radcliffe, clearly. So let's see where we stand. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days. I expect a big week. There has to be something coming up soon, because we've seen all season, the talk has been, oh, when the season's over, things will move. Let's see what happens now. New comment in there as well from Igsan, saying we need to sign some big hearts in our club. Yes, players with attitude, with hearts, who want to come in and win. I think, look at Casemiro. I mean, the guy has won everything in football at Real Madrid. He could have came and took a big paycheck and settled down into retirement, but he didn't. He wanted to go win. He wanted to win trophies with United. So players like that, with attitude, with experience, with some young players as well, you've got a very, very nice blend for next season. Marky is saying, I still said it from January, a lack of squad depth and injuries will delay our season. We need to strengthen in almost every department, i.e. goalkeeper, defence, midfield and forward. And Zakaria is saying Qatar all the way. So, two very good points there. Obviously, players with heart is needed. No more mercenaries at the club. In terms of Marcus saying, I think this is something we've all thought all season. I think a big concern with what we've done this year was a lack of rotation, even in the cups. Even when we were playing Charlton Athletic at home, Erik Ten Hag could not he couldn't trust the players. He could not trust the squad to go out and do the job. We've seen this already this year. He tried to do it against Ammonia Nicosia in the Europa League, and we nearly lost against a team from Cyprus. So he couldn't trust the players enough to rest them, and it did derail our season. Injuries were very, very disruptive. I think if we had Lisandro Martinez on yesterday, I don't think City get that first goal. I think he would head that ball out, and the distribution out from the back would be better. I think if we had as well, maybe Anthony on the right hand side could have offered something different. Iksan is saying correct. Kane is next. I think Harry Kane might be. I think from what we've heard, from what we've seen in the media, Harry Kane is the number one choice. He is who Erik Ten Hag wants. He would come in, he would guarantee 30 goals, in my opinion. I think it all depends on if Daniel Levy will sell. And he should sell, because otherwise Harry Kane is going to walk for nothing next season. My worry is Real Madrid want to buy Harry Kane to replace Karim Benzema, but that will be interesting. Let's see. Zakaria says we can bring in the right players. The gates are open now. Every player in Europe wants to be playing at the club now, and we need is funds to sweeten the deals and get the right guys. Yes, I think we are now in a position where players will want to come to us. Let's make the most of it. Let's use our Champions League. Let's use our manager, the players we have. Go out and improve this team in the summer. Iksan is saying we need to get rid of the dead weight, Fred and McTominay. Yes, I think both could go. I think there's other players as well. Harry Maguire, Anthony Martial, possibly Donny van de Beek. I don't think it's going to happen for him at United. So I think we will be selling players this year. Dean Henderson, another one. David is saying, I wonder how many people like Michael Knighton who really pushed and supported Sir Jim now all of a sudden. Yeah, I mean, Michael Knighton, we knew all along the guy was lying. Whenever he was saying that he needed a consortium and he didn't have the money himself, he was out to make a bit of publicity. But yeah, let's see. Who else is in the comments? Big T saying, when was the last time we got our number one choice? Very long time ago, man. Harry Kane, number one choice this summer. Let's see what happens. Even last year, we missed out. Lisandro Martinez, as good as he was, Ten Hag wanted Timber first. We didn't get him. We wanted Frankie de Jong. We didn't get him. Who else did we go for last year? Finally, we eventually got Anthony, but I mean, Weghorst wasn't first choice. Sabitzer wasn't first choice. So, been a long time. Make Harry Kane the new face of Manchester, says Igsan. I don't think it's going to happen, man. There was, of course, talk that Chelsea would like Harry Maguire. Harry Kane, sorry. I apologise for that. I read that as Harry Maguire. He could be the new face of United, certainly for the next couple of years. Harry Maguire will not be. LDG says Qatar will get the club. I hope so. I think it's genuinely where we need to be as a club. I think it's the only way we can compete with City at the moment. What will happen with the takeover is the question in the poll you guys are currently voting on. 224 votes. Amazing support on the poll tonight, guys. Thank you very much for that. Qatar, 88% of you guys are saying that they will win the race to buy United. 5% are saying Jim Radcliffe, and 8% are saying the Glazers will stay. Of course, the bottom two are very much connected to each other. If Radcliffe wins, we will have the Glazers still at the club. If nobody wins, the Glazers will still be at the club. The only way the Glazers are going 100% is if Qatar win, and that's the only way that's happening, and that has been made clear to us for many weeks now, and we have to react to it. We have to see what happens, and I'm expecting a big week. I think this will be so important this next week coming up for United. I think in terms of transfers, I expect movement on Mason Mount, or potentially on Kim Min-jae, and potentially on Rasmus Hojlund. Billionaire Botang is saying Qatari takeover, nothing else. Wasim is saying actually United are 5 years behind Man City. And Iksan is saying pay Levy the money, get him 150 million if the Qataris take over. We need at least 7 or 8 new players. Yeah, so a lot of comments to react to. So Billionaire Botang, of course, saying Qataris takeover, nothing else. United fans, we want rid of the Glazers. That's a big one. And I think Qatar is the only ones who are going to do it. Wasim is saying United are 5 years behind Man City, and Iksan is saying 7 or 8 new players. I think 7 or 8 new players, we're looking at what? I mean, we could go out and buy 7 or 8 really bad players. We won't do that. We will want to bring in good level players. And to get those players, you have to spend 200, 250 million pounds. I think that's a 2-season job. I think over the next 2 seasons, we will spend 500 million on this squad, and we will bring in some quality players. I don't think we can do it all in one window. So I think we have to prioritize. We have to go striker, goalkeeper, midfielder, defender this year. Next season, go something similar. Get another midfielder in, get another defender in, maybe another striker. Build up this squad. That's what we have to do. Ixan is saying, why don't we go get Madison from Leicester? We wouldn't pay a lot. I would love Madison. I think very, very good player. I think Newcastle are probably favourites to sign him, but let's see what happens. Zakaria is saying, I think if we buy a new centre back like Kim, we need a centre midfielder like Frankie de Jong and 2 strikers, young boys like Hojlund and Kane, that will make us super dangerous contenders to win any cup. Yes, I think that could be really good. And as well, Roblox Dog is saying, do we have the money to buy a top striker and a backup striker, 2 midfielders and a centre back this season? I don't think so. I think realistically, what we could hope to do would be if we get Hojlund, we could maybe get Marcus Thuram on a free. So there's 2 good strikers. If we're looking midfielders, you're talking Mason Mount. We could get Tielemans in on a free, perhaps. That would kind of help that. I think free transfers could be important for United this summer. I think Christian Eriksen was very good on a free. If we can do something similar, bring somebody in who's going to play like 30, 40 matches next season on a free, that's really good bit of business. And I think young players as well. Garnacho, of course, will be in the squad next year. Ahmad, a possibility. Kobe Minu, I want to see him given a chance. CPC says, if Qatar wins and we get Osimhen, Coman, Mbappe, Kim Min-jae, Diogo Costa, if the Glazers, then we get 200 million pounds as a budget. Yeah, I think even 200 million is too much for the Glazers. They will not give us that much to spend 2 years in a row. And Big T says, Garnacho is fast, he drives and wants to shoot, but would you like to see him put some crosses into as well? Yes, I would like to see him cross the ball. I think a lot of it comes to we don't really have a proper striker to head the ball in. I know he can do it. We've seen him do it. I think it was Aston Villa. He put a fantastic cross in for Scott McTominay, who scored. I think Garnacho has the ability. I think until we have somebody in the box, there's not much point putting the crosses in just yet. I think even Rashford, when he plays through the middle, he comes on to the left. Nobody's in the middle. If Harry Kane came in, Osimhen, Ramos, Hojlund, all of a sudden you have a guy in the middle who can score a header, make a bit of movement, make an opportunity and score a goal. Let's see, loads of comments coming through there actually. Ixan says, Ahmad must play next season. He looked very good at Sunderland. Scott says, we have no strikers fit, buddy. We need at least 2 forward minimum. I bring Greenwood back as the 3rd. Thanks very much for the comment, man. It could happen. I don't know what's going to happen with Greenwood, but 2 strikers is a must. Completely agree. In terms of what Ixan was saying about Ahmad, fantastic player. I think if we can get him in and give him enough minutes, enough matches, great option. I think if he's only going to play maybe 20 minutes a week, maybe give him another loan to a Premier League club could be a good option. Better for his development that way. At his age, what matters most is playing as much matches as possible. If he goes out for United next year, plays 30, 40 matches, that's brilliant. He will improve and he will definitely be a very good squad player next season. Ian has said, can someone explain to me how Avram affords to be in the FA Cup final while the team he's let down is playing the best team in the world and actually afford a smile? God, God, may lightning strike the Glazers. I mean, that could be a turn up. It's shameless. The guys are shameless. They're looking at United as a cash cow for them. They care more about the NFL team. We all know they own Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They care more about those guys. They put genuine money into that NFL team. They go to all the matches. They don't care about United. We have been paying for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for years now. Zakaria has says, yes, totally agree. 5 new signings and promote Manu, Zidane, Garnacho and Ahmad, and you can rotate any week. Yes, absolutely agree. Let's see who's in there as well. Ixan is saying what to do with Ahmad, what we did with Garnacho. Yeah, give him minutes, let him play, and he will be good for us. And Irfan says, Manu is very good. Next year will be like more young players. Yes, Manu, brilliant player. Little bit too young at the moment. I think he's only turned 17 this season. But next year he will be 18. He'll be more ready for it. And I'm sure he will go on pre-season with the first team, and let's see what he can do from there. I will be very excited to see what Kobbie Mainoo can do for Manchester United moving forward, and I'm really excited to see him long-term at this club. Um, Certainly one of the most talented young midfielders we've had in a long time, and he's got a great teacher. He plays in a similar role to Casemiro. Nobody better to learn from. So no doubt, Kobbie Mainoo will be definitely a player to watch out for in the coming years. Who is in the comments as well? Hella says Africa. It's our prayers. We need Qataris to take over the team, and we need glory back to United. I mean, yeah. I mean, I will take anything if people want to pray for it. Go for it, because we're going to need something big. And Urka is saying good evening. Good evening to you as well, man. Thank you very much for joining with us. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments. I'm going to check for any of the latest news coming out of Manchester United at this moment in time. And who's in there as well? George is saying good evening as well. So thank you very much as well for that, George. Good evening to you too, wherever you guys are in the world. Been really good talking to you guys as always, and I will check for the latest news, because it happens all the time. I'll be talking about takeover, and all of a sudden we're buying Mason Mount or something is happening. Let's see. United latest news. Diogo Costa has been speaking. Kim Min Jae, Serie A defender of the season. Very, very happy with him. Would love him at United next season. Wasim says mentality of the players is not the same as when Fergie was here. I've noticed this change from 2013. Yes, definitely mentality is not good enough at the moment. We need more from our players. Who else is in the comments? I'm just reading these from a phone as well when I'm looking here on the laptop for the latest news from United. Let me see. Exxon is saying we need two good squads so that in smaller cup games, big matches could be rested. Do you agree with that? Amon says, could we hurry up with Harry Kane to the goals? Can rain? Yes, I do agree. Get a striker in, get the goals in. We will move forward as a team, no doubt about it in my mind. Who else is in there? Exxon is saying we need two good squads. We've seen that. I think my chat's a little bit behind on the PC. Zakaria is saying, I just have a good feeling about Palestri. The boy needs more game time, and I think he will impress everyone in the off-season. Super stoked to see him grow as a player. Very exciting player. I like watching Palestri play. Very different. So direct. Puts good crosses into the box. Could be a really good option for us. I do agree. And Stefan is saying we need a strong midfielder instead of a striker. I think we need both. We need both. Striker and a midfield, it goes hand in hand with each other. And Big T says it's not just mentality, it's heart. Fergie's team oozed heart. Yes, I mean, Fergie's team never knew when it was beat. Whilst Erik Ten Hag did say that we are the only team who would go and fight back against Man City, I don't 100% buy that. I think he was trying to cover for people a little bit, but let's see. I mean, it all depends. It will be interesting to see what happens in the preseason. I'll be looking forward to bringing it with you guys. Let me just double check here as well. Just going to check for the latest news as well for you guys. Just whilst we're here on the stream. Any more thoughts? Get them into the comments as always, guys. Support been incredible across the last season, and much more coming up as well for you guys. I'm sure you guys are looking forward to it. Big summer coming up, and we will hopefully be live basically every day with the latest news, going through the lies which will be coming out, going through what we hope is true, and reacting to everything you guys do need to know about Manchester United. So, Hojlund, player on United's radar, 20-year-old from Atalanta, of course, has been a regular for Atalanta all season. He's clocked up 12 goals and 4 assists in 30 matches in the Italian league in 19 starts. I mean, that's unbelievable record. Who's in the comments? I can see people joining in. Lucky Singh, good to see you, man. He is saying, does Avram Glazer want more between 5.8 or 6 billion? That has been talked about a lot. That was actually talked about from the Daily Express. They said it will take 6 billion for Qatar to win the race. Big T says, Eric said that, but it was handball that got us back in it. Yeah, I mean, it was. We didn't create enough on the day. It was a shame our best chances fell to Varane. Ixan says, why don't we get Verratti and Donnarumma from PSG? I'm not a big fan of Donnarumma. I think Verratti would be fun. Would be very interesting to see how he would do at United. Let's see. Amon says United need a decent keeper. Yes, I do agree with that. Irfan says Evan Ndicka is free. What is the news? I haven't heard anything on Ndicka. I know he's a good player. I would love to see him at United and for free. Great signing. We need more in the team. Zakaria says, just a shame we can't find a player with Roy Keane's hunger and leadership in our team. They just don't make them like that anymore. No, they don't. They really do not. Players like Roy Keane, Brian Robson, those guys will never be seen again in football, unfortunately. Brian has said we need 2 strikers. We need to improve on our goal scoring big time. And Lucky Singh says Sheikh Jassim could pull out on Avram Glazer. That is the talk. He could reportedly pull out. I think that's a threat. I think he still wants the club. Let's hope he gets it. Who's in there as well? Actually, just on what Brian was saying, we do need 2 strikers. I do agree on that one. True Allen Stories saying, your true your true Jamaican Grammy Stories is in the building. Good show, bro. Thank you very much for the support, man. Ixan is saying, why not a fan of Donnarumma? I think it comes down to attitude issues. But I think he's definitely better than De Gea. I think he could be a really good sign. I just think that we need someone, a real good distributor. Diogo Costa is my first choice. Then maybe David Raya, I think, as well. Stephen is saying Mason Mount could be the start in this transfer window next week. What are your thoughts? I think there will be movement. Erik Ten Hag has said that he wants deals done quickly. The talk was Hojlund and Mason Mount. Expect movement this week. Let's see what happens. Big T saying Hazard is available. Where do you see him going? It's an interesting question. I mean, Eden Hazard at his very best, you're talking one of the best players in recent times in the Premier League. He might retire, according to Fabrizio Romano. All depends. I mean, if he gets fit for somebody, I'm sure he can still do a good job. Sniper Pat says, we've lived off scraps yesterday, not enough creativity. Yes, there wasn't enough creativity, wasn't enough possession, and I think it all comes from the back. I think without Lisandro Martinez, you see David De Gea's distribution worse and worse every match. Martinez is how we play out of the back. If we had Lisandro Martinez on, maybe we would have had more of a base, but I do think in terms of overall quality, very little we could do against City. We were always going to sit back and try play that type of match. I think we did as much as we could have, and we should have been better yesterday. Those goals were very disappointing to concede as well. Brian says, players 1 to 11 were poor yesterday. Garnacho the only bright spark. Yes, Garnacho definitely very bright. Very, very unlucky with that effort as well. McTominay hitting the crossbar was very unlucky. On another day, that goes in. Varane had our best chances. But I don't think it was a good match yesterday. I mean, we did well to stop City making a lot of chances. Irfan is saying Brazil Bento, what is the news? I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything on him, but I will check that out, of course. Big T says Hazard is only 32. Maybe it's a case the Spanish league was just not for him. I think it's all injuries as well, man. I think that's what it's going to come down to with Hazard, and it always has been for the last couple of seasons. No doubting his talent. I mean, if he gets back to what he was at Chelsea, what a player. I mean, if he gets back to half of that player, again, still amazing. Amon says the Glazers maybe using Radcliffe to raise the class off United to Qataris. I mean, maybe could be. We don't know, unfortunately. We do not know enough what's happening, and it is a real shame because we don't know and Qataris don't know what's happening. Zakaria is saying, I think we should look at players in the league. Brentford, Crystal Palace, Southampton. We should buy some of the young players in case there's a few good players in those clubs. Yes, I mean, who've we got? Brentford, if it wasn't for Ivan Toney's transfer ban, I would buy him. Southampton, some very good players. Ward Price is okay. Lavia is a player I really like. I think he could be brilliant. And he's so young as well. So a lot of good young players at those clubs. Crystal Palace, Eze, Elise would be really good for us, I think. Let's see. CPC says buying 2 strikers will be top priority. If we finish third without a striker, we get Kane, Hojlund, or Osimhen. We definitely can compete with Man City. I think yes, in terms of it will give us those extra points. Do expect City to improve this year as well, but it will be big. Irfan says no done deal in Man United. Not yet, man. Unfortunately, I wish that there were a done deal with United Seal and with the transfers starting to move. I really hope that was the case, but unfortunately not. So hopefully we will get there very soon. I'm praying that we do. I think it will be a big transfer window, a big summer coming up. Very excited to bring it to you guys on the channel. Big T says, if a new bidder came in today, would they be turned away? No, they wouldn't. We are not exclusive with the bids, so anything could happen. Scott says, need first team players for sure. United goals were mainly from wings. 2 proper strikers signing, and Martial cannot stay fit. Yes, completely agree. Brian is saying we need Qatar to compete with City. We probably do in the long term, yes. And Newcastle United, add them to that list, because Saudi Arabia will put a lot of money into that club. And Satwant is saying Glazers out, Glazers out, absolutely. Get those guys out of the club. I'm so fed up with them. I just want United back in any way. I mean, like, the biggest indication to me is, like, we don't even have football club on our badge anymore. Get those guys out of the club. Get someone in who's going to care about it, going to want to put their money in because they want the team to do well. That's what we need. That's what we deserve as fans. Erik Ten Hag needs it as a manager. Lucky Singh says Qatar will warn Glazers if they don't. New 5.8 million deal, they will pull out. And Irfan says Aston Villa have a lot of good players. Yes, they do. Some very good players at Villa. Ollie Watkins, of course. Matty Cash is a good right back. Douglas Luiz, good in midfield. Jacob Ramsey, brilliant midfielder. Very young. Would have loved us to bought him at some point. Just spotted as well, guys. Over 300 votes on the poll in the comments. Thank you very much for all the votes on that one. Qatar buying Man United. 87% of you guys are saying yes to that. 5% think Radcliffe will win, and 8% think the Glazers will stay. Big T is saying, I'm starting to think the Glazers are Highlanders to seem invincible. A good reference for anybody who hasn't seen the show. So yeah, Wasim says United coaching also lacks stamina, many flaws week in, week out. Yeah, I think we said this. I think we are getting the most out of the players we have. Erik Ten Hag is a brilliant manager. The coaching staff is good, but we can't turn Wout Weghorst or Martial into a 50-goal-a-season striker. We can't turn David De Gea into a goalkeeper who is good at passing. We can't make Christian Eriksen suddenly be able to put in 15-kilometer runs across a match. The team has gone as far as it can go. We need investment now, in my opinion. Jima is saying Hojlund, Kane, Mount, Caicedo, Kim and Jae keep De Gea until the end of the season. I think that could happen. I think De Gea probably is the most realistic in terms of staying. I've heard rumours, of course, that a young goalkeeper, Verbruggen from Anderlecht, or Genk, I think it is, might come in. So maybe a long-term replacement there. I think we need immediate replacements, but that's just my opinion. Mumu says, Glazers out. Unlucky Singh says, we need a fresh start. Yesterday proves it, guys. Yes, we do need a fresh start. A lot of those players do need to move on. It will be an interesting couple of weeks in the transfer window. I'm looking forward to it. You guys are looking forward to it. Everything will be brought to you guys on the channel all summer long. So any more thoughts, guys, get them into the comments now as well. Something we always believe in on the show. You guys' comments are so important. Genuinely, it makes the community what it is. Scott says, Glazers have set United backwards with not enough investment over many years. Qatar all the way. Thank you very much for that, man. I do think Glazers have set this club. So it isn't even setting us back. I think Glazers came in 2005. I think we've basically stayed in 2005 as a club, as a mentality, in terms of who's running the club. Big T says, how many players do you think we're going to sign this window? I think we went through this earlier. I think I said a striker. So we'll start off with one. So a striker, a midfielder, a defender, and a goalkeeper. It doesn't have to be a starting goalkeeper, but I think at least one goalkeeper brought in. So there is 4. I think we will bring in another striker if it's a free agent like Marcus Thuram, perhaps. That's 5. I think we will bring in another midfielder on a free, potentially. So there is, 6? I think 6 max. I think 6 is the most. Jimmo says we need almost 350 to 400 million for signings. Yes, I don't think we'll get that all in one window. I think some of this will be done next season. I think if we can get half or more, that's good. If we can get a very good young striker and another striker in, a midfielder and a defender, that's definitely going to help us a long way. And then next season, we can add the quality bits we need, finish the puzzle, and make United a team who can compete once again. Lucky Singh says they've ruined the club's mentality. Yes, top to bottom, it is money. It is not about performances on the pitch. And Brian says we need at least 5 new signings. I do agree. I think 5 signings is realistic this year. and potentially another 5 next year. And then with that, Erik Ten Hag would have 15 signings in 3 years. And there we can compete. There we can go on and challenge. Sicario says we need a 22-man squad who will compete every day to play every 3 days. With that mentality, we'll get the best out of our players, and Ten Hag only has to pick the best out of 11 to represent us. Yes, something we had under Ferguson, of course, always was a big squad, players who could come in and compete, playing different positions. I mean, we won the treble with 4 of the best strikers in the league that season, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Teddy Sheringham, Andy Cole, Dwight York. We had Scholes, Keane, Nicky Butt in midfield. Beckham could fill in there as well. We had a lot of good players. You need that depth. And I mean, look at City. Those guys brought Kevin De Bruyne off yesterday and brought on Phil Foden. We don't have that depth. We bring off Christian Eriksen and we put Garnacho on. Garnacho's great, but he's not at that level yet. We bring on Wout Weghorst, who scored 2 goals all season. That's the difference here. Big T says, how much do you think we've still not adjusted to being without Fergie? I think what the problem is with Fergie, and I think it took a long time to get right, Fergie was more than just a manager. Fergie was basically CEO of the club. He was basically director of football. He oversaw the entire academy. And it took us a long time to figure that out. We only got a director of football 2 seasons ago, and it was John Murda, who's not that good. Wasim says United's completely different when Leitch is on the field. Fact, yes, Leitch, as good as he is in terms of his mentality, his heart, his fight, he is also a brilliant player, a brilliant defender, a brilliant passer, and we do miss him a lot on the pitch. He's a real leader, and he's one of our best players for a reason. And what I love about Leitch is the guy's only going to get better, in my opinion. I think whenever he has more of a team around him, when there's less of a burden on him to be the only guy playing out, he definitely will be even better for United. Let's see who else is in there. Brian is saying the deadwood at the club has been holding us back due to high wages. Yes, the wages have been extortionate. We're paying Phil Jones £75,000 a week. He's played 1 match in 3 seasons. LDG has said, how much more evidence does British football need that American ownership is a threat to football? I don't know, man. It's clear and obvious to me. I mean, look at United, look at City, sorry, not City, Liverpool, other teams as well. I mean, American ownership doesn't understand the way the football works here. It doesn't know the cultural significance of the game. Within Europe, it's not even within Britain. It is a worldwide thing, and Americans are ignorant to that. Lucky Singh says 100% UK football clubs should just stop this. Yes, do agree. Jimmo says, remember when Ranić said United need 10 players to compete with top teams? I think he was right. I do think he was right, and we have 4 or 5 of them. We need another 4 or 5 now. Roblox is saying, do you think Inter could stop City treble? I mean, they might do, potentially. Anything's possible. Lucky Singh says, Big T was in there first, saying Fergie won the Premier League and the Champions League under the Glazers. Looking back, that was a massive achievement, even for Fergie. Yes, and I think a lot of that was the fact that that team was basically there already. I mean, we had Rooney, we had Ronaldo, we bought Tevez under Glazers. We had Michael Carrick already there. Ferdinand was there. Vidic was brought in for not very much. So a lot of that was done in spite of the Glazers, I think. Who else is in there? Irfan saying Martinez is a monster. Yes, completely love Lisandro Martinez. King Moa is saying that's why we need Qatar for United. Yes, I do agree. And Scott is saying squad is massively short. Only 8 I would keep and cannot compete in the Champions League with the basic 11. Not strong enough for titles yet. I do agree with that. And Lucky Singh says America ownership does not know football. Yes, completely agree as well, man. So, with all that, man, guys, I'm going to leave the stream here because my voice is going. If you guys do want to support the channel, please consider hitting that sub button. Helps me out very, very much. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow.